Round one. Fight.
Heroes never die.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.
Power, sex, power. They both come down to one thing.
Hungry gamers.
Hello, and welcome everyone to the 297th episode of the Hungry Gamers podcast. We are powered by ATEBIT.net and those sexy legends over at Audio-Technica. Get some of the best audio-based equipment in and around your ear holes right over there at audio-technica.com immediately. I'm extremely humble host Brendan White. You can find me just about everywhere at Brendan8bit. And joining me as is tradition, my podcast Ride or Die, the Ian Malcolm to my Alan Grant. You can find her on them socials at Miss Allie Hart. Miss Allie Hart, how the bloody hell are ya?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good on another sweaty day in the Californias. How about yourself?
I love the contrast. We were just talking about this before we went live, and it is hot and gross over there, and it is cold and wet and overcast here. So
the weather I dream
quite
about.
the change.
I miss it so much. I miss a good rainy day. I miss a good rainy week.
Well, we got that this week. It's raining all week here down in Melbourne town. So if I could send you some, I would. But sadly, that's not how the weather works, apparently.
Alas.
So, and a quick shout out, the Ian Malcolm and Alan Grant reference, before I forget, the limited edition Jurassic Park Reebok collaboration has officially gone live overnight. So if you wanted to get yourself some Reebok XJP sneaks, head on over to Reebok.com and get your hands on those before they sell out. I got mine before I fell asleep. There's only one pair I really liked, but I got them, and they're hopefully on their way to me in a slow boat from I don't know where, and they'll be on my feet imminently, Miss Hart.
I look forward to seeing the photos.
Yeah, there's some that are just not good as far as my aesthetical preferences, but there was sort of more like a simple like white colorway that I sort of dug, and I'm like, yeah, I could rock them. So I got the simple white ones. But alas, let's talk about what we've been doing this week. And we've both been dabbling a little bit in the old Fortnites again. Did you invest some money in any of the skins that have been dropping this past week? We've had a few little pop-ups. Obviously, we had the Dragon Ball Z thing. We've had the NFL one pop up overnight. We've had other characters make their way in and out of the rotation since we've recorded. Have you been dropping those V-Bucks?
Just dropped some dollars on the Fusion emote, and that's about it. Nothing else kind of move the pulse for me for Dragon Ball Z, but you know, I had to get something Destiny related. Sadly, not the characters I would have liked to have chosen from, so I chose the best out of them purely based on their ghost. So
that was the Stranger,
the Exo Stranger from Destiny, and I got the little bundle where you get the weapons as well as the emotes. If there was one that I was going to spend money on, it kind of makes sense that it would have been Destiny. So I'm kitted out in some Destiny gear. I have my favorite weapon, my favorite exotic, the Black Talon, which is the sword. So I'm now rocking that. So kind of happy.
I bought the Black Talon weapon skin as well because it is a beauty of a melee blade, and I haven't bought Zavala yet. As a Titan, it's hard to ignore my Lord and Savior Zavala, but I just don't like him very much, and I'm probably more leaning towards buying Ikora than I am Zavala, just because she's a lot more palatable as far as dealing with from an emotional standpoint in the game.
Is she though?
Yeah, she's the lesser of two
a wet
evils, I guess.
blanket.
But I'm just sad there's no Cade. Like, I don't like. I know that. No spoilers. He ain't really around no more. But like, there's a lot of skins in Fortnite of characters that have died in their various IPs. So why couldn't you bring Cade in? I'm sure Nathan Fillion would have been happy to drop some voice lines if he needed to.
100%. Well, the characters don't really speak too much, but I would have been happy with the Drifter. I would have been happy with Shax. And State 14 maybe, but like, yeah, no, we got the main three, I guess you could call
Even
it.
Even Azur. Give me Azur with his crazy space cool? Tentacle face.
Yes,
you know?
That would have been awesome, but no. And now I have to get the Fortnite gear in Destiny.
I saw the Fortnite gear in Destiny. That didn't really excite me at all.
Really?
Sadly.
No,
yeah.
Everyone's pretty excited. It's pretty sad when the Destiny community got something from Fortnite and they're like, you know what, doesn't look bad. Looks pretty good.
But it's sneaky. The collab that we never thought would happen. Fortnite X Destiny X Fall Guys as well. So there's Fall Guys stuff popping from the other universes. So the pop culture blender is at an all-time high this week. Yeah. But something that is sadly not an all-time high, I'd say it's also probably more apt to say it's an all-time low for this franchise. And been playing Saints Row this week, courtesy of PlayOn, formerly Coke Media. So thank you for the keys. I've received one on the Xbox, and you've got one from PC. Mm-hmm. And in very short summary, the reviews that it's been getting out there, we've seen it's a bit of a divisive title. The majority of games media has been panning this game, and sadly, I'm with the majority here, Miss Hart. Like, the game feels very soulless. Like, it's very hollow, and the characters are a bit much. Like, I know Saints Row's always, like, bigger and badder and more obnoxious. Like, it's the more zany of the GTA equivalents, right? Like, they really lean into that in the later games.
In the later ones, yeah.
And they're leaning into that a little bit here. Like, it's just over-the-top machismo. I don't know if my game glitched when it first started, but after I made my, you're known as the boss. That's the character you play. After I made my boss, the game loaded up, and I didn't have clothes on. The opening cutscenes and stuff like that, I was naked with, like, a pixelated genitalia area, and for some reason my nipples were pixelated too. So the opening scenes where you met this character and sort of got a bit of the backstory as to how it got to where it was today, I was naked. So I'm like, okay, fair enough. I don't know if this is meant to be it, but it felt like it was a glitch because I was getting crowd surfed like at a party in the nude. So people were like grabbing my butthole and bits and like bouncing me around the crowd. I'm like, I don't think this is meant to be happening like this. It's getting plugged. God damn it.
Maybe they were really just trying to establish that whole starting from the bottom and reaching the top, and you can't go more bottom than a bare one.
Boss. Yeah, like I was the naked boss man by this time, and I was getting bounced around in the nutty. But anyway, the controls are a bit janky. The combat isn't as smooth as I'd like it to be as far as weapons and abilities, and just the general exchanging car mechanics. It's fine. It's par for the course for the franchise. Feels just like you would driving vehicles in prior Saints Row games, or if you're familiar with GTA, like who isn't? You know how these things go. One of the best things about the game is the damn radio stations. That's probably the highlight of the game for me, is the radio stations. I'm just cycling through and I'm banging along as I'm cruising around in my cars that I'm stealing. And but the game is hard. It's just... It doesn't have the oomph and the emotional like connection that I was hoping for. The characters, they're all just cardboard cutout parodies of certain stereotypes which you're expecting, but I just don't care about any of them. I don't care about like the boss is the character you make, and I could not give two shits about myself in this game. Like I'm just like, all right, I'm going here, I'm going to shoot some people, I'm going to rob this, or I'm going to steal that car, or I'm going to go do this mission or this side quest, get some money, maybe buy some clothes from the shop, upgrade my guns, next place, onwards and upwards. And it's just very rinse and repeaty, very... Yeah, it's like a GTA clone mod that someone in the community made, and it's not the best.
Because your character talks, right? Like your character has a voice and response and everything. Like in the first, I'm almost certain in the first two games you didn't talk, and I believe there's even a joke that like Johnny Gat used to say, like like how like you're the silent type, and then. Like I think when your character doesn't talk, it's easier to kind of immerse yourself in the world and still make the character feel like your own. But when your character actually starts talking and responding and almost having their own personality, that's when I feel like you kind of have that disconnect from your character. So maybe that's what's happened.
I think that's pretty true. Like you can tailor your voice accent to your liking. I think there was at least 5 or 6 different male and female voice tones you wanted. And I went with like this, I don't know, southern country guy. And I sort of tried to make him look like me. And I sort of nailed a bit of the aesthetic. But I could have went more in it. But like even with the character customization, I'm like, you know what? I don't care enough to spend another probably 40 minutes refining the facial structure. So I'm like, rough enough's good enough. Jumped in. And after the first opening mission... You talk about balls, like you're driving back to your apartment where your potential Saints Row squad members live, and you're driving there after the first mission, and you talk about balls for probably 3 minutes straight as you're driving, like you're having like an inner monologue.
Okay.
And it's like, defining this type of ball and then describing, it's this mission was this and this company's balls. And it's just, I'm like, come on. Like, flogging the dead horse is what this game does best, I think, where it's like the bit or the joke's been made, move on, but then like, no, we're going to poke it 100 more times and make you reference it 50 more times. And it's just like that. It's just overdone, and it just, doesn't have the same impact that I was hoping for. Like, I'll keep playing it a little bit here and there over the next week or so. I put in about, full disclosure, I put in about probably 6-7 hours this week. So I've had enough of a taste to know what the world's like, and the variety in the combat, the variety in the mission style, and the characters and the stakes that are at play here for the boss and his crew. But yeah, it's just not a good time. Like, I feel bad. Like, obviously the people at Volition have been hyping this game up for a long time, and
they also delayed it.
They delayed it, and the Embracer Group is obviously the giant evil corporate conglomerate behind all this now. So it's just missed the mark for me, which is a shame, because I love this franchise and its zaniness, but it feels like whoever was like storyboarding this thing was like had Dorito crumbs and Mountain Dew always close by. Like, it's very tropey in that regard, where it's like, what's the meme in the internet joke this week? Let's just chuck them all in there. The kids will love this.
Yeah.
And the kids don't love this, Volition. I'm sorry, but Saints Row, it's certainly not 8-bit approved for me at the moment.
Yeah, I have to still take some time with it, and I'm really nervous about it. I was an OG Saints Row fan. I more enjoyed the first two. When they started getting a bit wacky is when I kind of stayed away from them. So I am curious. A lot of people are upset because people said that it doesn't have that wackiness that they loved or that they were fond of, I guess, of the later of the series. So who knows? Maybe I will like it. But either way, I'm gonna spend some time in there and report back next week and see how palatable it was for me.
I hope you're an outlier.
I really hope.
I know, you're a big fan of this universe, and I hope it resonates with you better than it has the rest of games media and myself.
Yeah, I have a tendency to go against the tide, and maybe I'll be lucky this time.
Fingers and toes crossed for that one, Miss Hart. But that's what we've been doing. But we might just sort of keep things rocking and rolling. We've got a bit of a deadline today. We've got some things on, so we want to try and keep this episode going at a nice, cracking, solid pace. So let's just move across to this.
This week's news headlines.
And our first couple of quick hitters is to do with games that we've been talking about getting converted for the big screen. And so Netflix upcoming BioShock movie has finally found a writer and director. Hunger Games director Francis Lawrence will helm the video game adaptation, while Logan and Blade Runner 2049 writer Michael Green will pen the script. Quote reads as follows: BioShock, our live-action feature film adaptation of the renowned video game franchise, will be directed by Francis Lawrence, also known for I Am Legend, also the Hunger Games series, and Slumberland, and it's taken from a script from Michael Green, who's also handled stuff with American Gods. Oh, sorry about that one. But Netflix are very excited for this. I'm interested. Michael Green, like, knowing that he's written Blade Runner 2049... There's some good parts in American Gods, I'll admit. And Logan is just about one of my favourite superhero films of all time.
Yeah.
And then Francis Lawrence, I Am Legend. It's kind of cool, funky, interesting, vampire-esque post-apocalyptic film with Will Smith. And The Hunger Games, yeah, cool. They just need to nail the tone for this. It needs to be nice and gloomy, but gorgeous, but horrific. I'm very interested to see how they convert BioShock into a movie, though. Like, this is a game that each game takes potentially close to 20 hours. They're going to try and knock this into 90 minutes. That's the scary part for me.
That is, that's pretty terrifying. And then whether they're going to follow a storyline that players are familiar with, or are they just setting it in the universe kind of thing? So I guess now that we have a writer and director, we'll probably start finding out little tidbits later on.
Yeah, we'll watch this space, but at least this is getting out of development hell. Like, this BioShock movie has been on the books, or in creativity rooms across the globe for decades now. It feels like there's been so many directors and writers attached that have pulled out and brought back in and pulled out and whatever else. So hopefully Francis Lawrence and Michael Green are the two to get this thing finally imagined. And keeping this Netflix gaming flavor moving forward, Umbrella Academy director Steve Blackman, not to be confused with the martial arts superstar from WWF era, Steve Blackman. Remember him?
And the name is now ringing a bell that you've said it. Now I'm just trying to put a face.
He was like a martial artist guy. He actually looked a bit like my dad if my dad was fit. And he was no nonsense. He just always like fight for the hardcore championship, use 2x4s and things. Very generic white guy, black hair, black beard. I know I say that as I am fitting that mold too right now. But yeah, Steve Blackman is Umbrella Academy's current director. He's heading up the Netflix Horizon series based obviously on PlayStation's Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West. During an interview this week with Tudum, he confirmed that he's adapting the popular PlayStation series for Netflix and that Aloy will be the show's main character. Quote reads as follows: Horizon Zero Dawn is an exceptionally well-crafted game with wonderful characters not often seen in the rank and file of the gaming world. Guerrilla Games has created an incredibly lush and vivid world of man and machine who find themselves on a collision course to oblivion, end quote. So this is cool. We both love Umbrella Academy. I'm not too familiar with Steve Blackman outside of Umbrella Academy, but from what he puts on the screen, I'm down. And I like that they've addressed the elephant in the room right there and said it's going to be in the Horizon world. It's going to focus on Aloy. Yeah. Awesome. Let's get that casting underway. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. I even with the previous title, BioShock, and then this concerning about me having that attachment to Netflix, who has been making some what would be considered bad choices lately, and cancelling things and removing funding from things and being a bit cheeky on whether they publish things and such. So I hope all these things continue to go and they don't really hit any kind of production hell. The thing I worry about Horizon, it's going to be a lot of CG, right? Like a lot. You'd think so. And it needs to be done at a very high standard. Otherwise, it's going to be a lot of bad, noticeable CG the entire time. Yeah. But if they could make models, like if they do actual proper animatronics with the beasts and the robot dinosaurs and stuff, like, all right, let's go. Let's go. I didn't think about them actually building the models and working them like they do with those like dinosaur kind of puppet outfits that they have. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm back on board.
Yeah. Steve Blackman, call up Stan Winston and get his crew across this, because they will certainly lend their skills to this and make it look very pretty and very horrific. But these are moving forward in the development cycle. They're still a few years away from coming to screen, but it's nice to know that there's some real traction occurring there with that Sony IP and that 2K based IP there with BioShock and Horizon respectively. So the next bit of news. Overnight on the PlayStation blog, Sony have announced it will be raising the price of both editions of the PlayStation 5 in Europe, the United Kingdom, the Middle East, Africa, Asia, Latin America, and Canada. The United States seems to be the only major market not getting a price increase at time of recording. So the pricing here for Australian listeners, the PlayStation 5 Digital Edition has gone from $599.95 up to $649.95, and the PlayStation 5 with a Ultra HD Blu-ray disc drive has gone from $749.95 to $799.95. So it's gone up $50. It's gone up, what's that, maybe roughly 8%, 7% if my quick maths works correctly there. But yeah, it's sucks, but that's the world at the moment. Like, we've talked about global component shortages and supply issues for the last couple of years off the back of COVID, and that's what this happens, where the costs of raw materials, like nothing, things like plastics and silicones and stuff like that, the pricing has gone through the roof, and no doubt Sony and a lot of these other manufacturers have been wearing these costs for a while, holding these price rises back, but they're inevitable. This might not be the last one we get in the next couple of years, to be honest.
Exactly. And I think a lot of people have noted that it's also like distribution, like transporting these goods across the way. Apparently that's had quite an impact as well. So, I mean, like you said, it's the times we're in right now, and if it has to go up I'm gonna say a couple of bucks. I understand it's not just a couple of bucks, but it could have been a more drastic bump. I guess it's easy for two PlayStation 5 owners to say right now, like, yeah, it's not that bad.
Yeah, like we're not here in our ivory tower, brown nosing at this. Like it sucks, and money's money, and money's always hard to come by. So for anyone where this potentially might be a deal breaker with picking up a PlayStation 5, sorry to hear that, because it is tough out there. But yeah, just brace for more of this, because globally across every industry, it's a pinch. Like in real world, in my 9 to 5, one of the primary access control boards we sell, roughly, let's say we sell them for $1,500 each. They are now coming with the surcharge of an extra $230 on top of that if you want to get it forecasted to have it within a couple of weeks. And if you don't, we can't give you a forecast due to component shortage. So you either pay that surcharge to skip the queue, or it could be 8+ months lead time to get this part. So it's and that's just one of many examples I could use where it's a nothing component. It could be a microcoil, a bit of plastic, a bit of glass. All these nothing components are just in short supply. And then as you said, Miss Hart, there, the logistics is the crippler too. I've seen some of our freight bills, and the costs have gone up 700%.
Really?
700% to move stuff across an ocean. Yeah. So it's scary out there. So yeah, I think it won't be the last time we see some price rises. So just brace yourselves, people. Do what you can. But let's sort of shift gears, and we wanted to sort of make this episode a bit of a Gamescom-centric edition here. So let's talk some Gamescom. Let's talk about what we've seen and what's been announced and showcased over the last couple of days. We're moving into, I think, day 3 of Gamescom, if my maths is correct. Obviously, time zones and global differences, it's all over the place. Or is it day 2?
No, I was thinking more. I just feel like I've been hearing about it a lot. I'm like, maybe it's 4 days. But yeah,
it's something.
It's something.
So we've grabbed all the major headlines that have sort of been announced or new info has been provided, and we're not going to deep dive on every single one of these. We'll sort of rattle off some of the headlines, and where applicable, we'll jump in, add a little bit more meat to the conversation, and keep going. So, we'll sort of jump back and forth here as far as things that we saw that we stood out. And the first one that we've highlighted here, we've grabbed sort of a bit of the run sheet and just some notes as well from Brody Gibbons over there from Press Start. Fantastic independent, well, no longer independent Aussie outlet, because they got picked up by Southern Cross. So nicely done there. But Dead Island 2. It's somehow still alive, and it's going to be set in Los Angeles. So obviously, Dead Island 2 was a game that was originally announced about 8 years ago. So it's been in development hell for a long time. But the game is coming out on February the 3rd of 2023. So it's a real thing. It's not far away. And holy hell, this trailer is gruesome as anything. You're ripping zombies' head, you're punching through their face and ripping half their face off. You're decapitating people. You're dismembering various beasties. There's so much insanity in this couple of minute trailer. And I loved the original Dead Island. It's one of my favorite zombie games. So I can't wait. If this is just more of the same Dead Island, awesome. But if this is an improvement on Dead Island 2, which is improvement with Dead Island 2, I cannot wait, because, first person, brutal melee combat, really stunning locations, large in life characters, and it just looks bananas. So I can't wait to play Dead Island 2.
I enjoyed these kind of zombie horde, chaotic craziness kind of games, especially with friends and just trying to survive out there. I'm actually trying to remember if I ever played Dead Island 1. I honestly I can't even remember if I have. Unfortunately, sometimes the zombie games kind of start feeling the same after a while. So right now I can't even remember if I actually played Dead Island 1. But like I said, I'm all for the gruesome, gritty co-op action of a zombie, mash. So I might keep this on the February.
Yeah, it's going to be a busy Q1 next year, but plenty of games to see and do. And Dead Island 2 has certainly popped up near the top of my radar. I can't wait to play this early next year. And it's just nice to see this game actually exists and it's coming out now because, we've heard rumblings and rumors and loose confirmations for many a year. And here it is. Annoyingly, it got leaked before Gamescom, so a little bit of the momentum was slowed with the internet doing the internet. But it's coming out, and it's coming out in just a little over 3 months' time, which is awesome. All right, the next bit we wanted to highlight there. So Everywhere was announced. So the event officially opened with a video detailing pre-production of Everywhere, which is a new title from the former president of Rockstar North. This game is all over the shop, to say the least.
Yeah.
Like, in my notes here, it seems like it's trying to do quite a lot. Like the press release that they released after this video, there was a quote that seamlessly blends gameplay, adventure, creativity, and discovery in an all-new multi-world gaming experience that redefines how players connect with one another and the digital world around them. So
PlayStation Home.
Yeah, it's something. Like, is this going to tie into the metaverse? I don't know. Like, there's
many people. Like, I was like watching Gamescom live, and so many people in chat was just like, I bet you this has NFTs attached. Like, I'm like, oh whoa! Like, people are really jumping the gun.
It feels like it, huh?
And it just being called Everywhere, like it was a lot. And I think even last week I was talking about where games or companies try to tick a lot of boxes and add a lot of things into one game, but they seem like they run victim to not perfecting things. Mm-hmm. I worry about a game like this where I couldn't, like, 1 minute it looked like a driving game, then it looked like a battle royale, and then it looked like a builder. Like, it was just a lot to consume within a trailer. And then they got on stage to talk about it, but essentially saying, we actually don't have much to talk about on it. And it's like, what are you selling? I have no clue.
Selling air right now. Like, it feels very much like, because even in the trailer, there was some really high resolution assets where there was like a gentleman that was like real close up, sort of tight shot just on his face. And you could see him dealing with emotions and looking at things. And that graphical detail then compared to the racing elements and stuff, it looked like they were two worlds. So I wonder if he is sort of jumping into a simulation and going to these multiverses and experiencing racing and fighting and platforming and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all over the shop, but there's some heavy hitters attached to it. The game's coming out next year, and we'll find out more of what Everywhere is going to be in the coming weeks and months, because at the moment we got no clue what this game's trying to do apart from be everything everywhere all at once.
Nice.
The next one, Dune Awakening, was announced with a nice CG trailer. It's a survival MMO game set in the Dune universe. The trailer looked pretty. Don't really have much to add. I'm curious to know how they're going to make Dune into a living MMO. Apparently, it's going to be able to have thousands of players per server, and beta signups are available right now. So if you're interested to get into that world and chase all that spice, you can do so. Just search Dune Awakening beta and you'll be able to sign up there. But yeah, cool. All right. Don't know if there's an appetite for it, but happy for you.
Yeah, there's some fans out there. Who knows? There might be a little secret gem. They might actually do it really well.
That's very true. And we obviously got the second film making its way to the screens next December, I think, is the release date. I think it's December 23, if I can remember correctly. The next bit of news that I wanted to highlight a little bit, PlayStation revealed the DualSense Edge wireless controller. I've just taken some words from the official Sony blog and the press release that they sent out after this announcement too. And it's designed to allow players to create custom controls tailored to their playstyle. The DualSense Edge wireless controller features a number of hardware and software-based customization options. Ultra customizable controls where you can remap or deactivate specific buttons, adjust stick sensitivity, travel distance, and dead zones. The ability to save multiple profiles, so players can save the ideal control settings to unique profiles and swap between them on the fly. On controller user interface, the dedicated function button allows players to adjust their setup in-game, swap between preset control profiles, adjust game volume and chat balance, while also accessing the entire controller profile settings while in-game. Changeable stick caps and back buttons. 3 types of swappable stick caps, standard, high dome, and low dome, help players find the right comfort level of comfort, grip, and stability. And there's also 2 swappable sets of back buttons, half dome and lever, and they can be configured to any other button input. And there's also replaceable stick modules. Each individual stick module can be replaced, increasing controller longevity. The sticks are obviously sold separately. And the last part here, built-in DualSense wireless controller features. Tying all the new features together is the signature comfort and immersive experience of the DualSense wireless controller when played supported games with haptic feedback, adaptive triggers, built-in microphone, motion controls, and more. So, Miss Hart, this is Sony's delayed response to the Xbox Elite controller, which I adore. This thing looks pretty damn cool, and I love this because I play exclusively on the Elite controller, so those face buttons I rarely use on the Xbox controller because they're mapped to paddles on the back. So it's going to be nice to have not to rewire my brain every time I go from Xbox to PlayStation and go back to the face buttons. I'll have some paddles or toggles on the back that I can use as well. So it looks slick. It's a clean looking controller, and it's going to be expensive, but I'm going to buy it.
Surprises no one. It's been quite some time since we've had the Elite out in the gaming universe, so PlayStation really did take their time, maybe knowing that with the new console they were developing this new controller for the DualSense and what they were going to add to it and how they were going to make it a more immersive, hands-on kind of experience. But I'm impressed that they were able to add these elements to it to compete against the Elite controller. Will I buy one? I don't need it. I don't use an Elite. I don't, so for me it's not a must buy. I feel for every person that's probably bought a few PlayStation controllers now, and now seeing this, they're like, great, now I have to get this one. But yeah, it's just good that they, like Sony PlayStation owners, now have something very similar to what Xbox owners have and have enjoyed and raved about for quite some time.
This is going to mean I'm going to have 5 PlayStation 5 controllers.
Wow.
And I live by myself. The dogs don't play with me. So I've got a lot of hot spares ready to roll should controllers break or go flat. But yeah, I'm excited to see what the price point is. If it does fall into that $200 to $300 Australian, is it going to be a bit higher? I don't know. But yeah, it looks slick and I like the customization option with it. And yeah. Nice move, Sony, because this controller is right in my wheelhouse. Moving on to a couple more topics here. In Gamescom, we got another look at the Callisto Protocol, including its mutations mechanic. This game is stunning in all its darkness and bleakness and goriness. I cannot wait to play this. I feel like the more I see of this game, like I know we talk about game fatigue when they show too much. With every slice of gameplay they show me of this, I feel this is going to be one of the best games of the year when it comes out in December.
I've learned not to hype myself over a title until it comes out, because sometimes like the higher you place it, the greater the fall. So I'm just going to keep watching from afar and enjoying it and wait until the finished product gets into our hands.
Yeah, it looks so good and so gory. And I like that there was like the force push-pull mechanic was on display and the stealth kills and stuff. Like it looks like there's a couple of nice gameplay wrinkles in there that'll, allow you to go about things and fight those nightmare creatures in a whole host of different ways. Yeah. The Lords of the Fallen was showcased as well, leaning heavily into the Soulsborne genre. It's a reboot of the original Lords of the Fallen, and this is called The Lords of the Fallen. It's apparently set 1,000 years after the original, so it's sort of a soft reboot in that regard. Looks stunning. The trailer looked cool. If you love your Soulsborne, you're probably going to love the Lords of the Fallen. I'll play it for a bit, probably get killed a lot and then park it and never go back. But yeah, it looked interesting and the internet is very hyped about this one. So
it's one of my favorite trailers from Gamescom presentation. Having Mother play and just like
Danzig.
Yeah, and just like having it edited such a perfect way to match with the trailer. Like it was very suitable and very appropriately used. So it's one of my favorite trailers. But in saying that, I also know I won't play this game. So cool looking game, cool trailer and everything. But it's like, damn, I know I won't play this game.
Yeah, looks stunning. Like high fantasy mixing in with that Souls flavor. People are going to eat this up. Like if it is executed well, it'll sell well, it'll review well, because people will be horny endlessly for Soulsborne games. And the Lords of the Fallen looks like it could scratch that itch for those Souls players. We also got confirmation that Moving Out 2 is making its way to platforms next year. Moving Out 1, cute little moving sim, co-op, chaos, carnage, built and developed right here in Victoria, which is great. So some more Aussie representation, getting acknowledgement on that global stage. Coming out sometime next year, and there's also cross-platform multiplayer on that too, which is awesome. So keen to play a bit of that. Moving Out 1 was pretty fun. We got another highlight for Hogwarts Legacy. It sort of lent more into the darkness of Hogwarts in this one, where if you're learning bad spells and what can come of it. The trailer looked pretty... I'm still like, I'll give it a spin next like early next year when it comes out in February. It's looking dark and mature in the tone, which I'm happy for. But yeah, we'll see. I'm with you. I'm holding reservation until it actually comes out and the reviews start flowing in. Yeah,
I had no desire to play that game, and now seeing that trailer and seeing that is nothing like I thought the game was going to be, I'm definitely not playing the game.
I'm out. We got also the announcements for new Tales from the Borderlands, so it's a spiritual successor to the original Telltale series. Graphically, it looks pretty. Like it's funny. I'm already more excited for this than I was for Borderlands 3.
Really?
Yeah, like Borderlands 3 really sunk my battleship, but this one, it looks interesting. 5 episodes are going to be dropped simultaneously when they're building out this new story, and the game's coming out in October, so we don't have to wait too long to get a little bit of that Telltale sort of choose your own adventure style storytelling. And I'll give this a spin. You're not keen?
No. It just to me looked exactly the same as all the other games, as I understand, because it's the overall style of Borderlands, but nothing about it made me go, yeah, I want to come back and I want to know these stories. Like, no, nothing about it did. So I'm like, I can miss that one.
You're out. Are you in though for the Dying Light 2 DLC, where they're tying in like a gladiator tournament DLC expansion for Dying Light, where it looks very Killing Floor-esque, where it's taking place in a place in the world called Carnage Hall, and it's gladiatorial based combat. You're fighting humanoid NPCs, and it's multi-level, and if you get knocked down, you almost fall into a zombie pit. Very gory, very visceral. Yeah, cool.
That's good. Like, based on what they kind of suggested at the end, it was actually something that they were fulfilling as requested by fans, right? I think that was the idea, which is cool. It's good to see when studios listen to what their fans want and then actually putting it in the game. It's just not for me. I don't like that one-on-one combat.
Yeah, that's fair. We also got some highlights for a couple of games. We've got Tortuga, which is a seafaring game coming out in 2023, and also Marauders, which is a very stylish dystopian-looking shooter. It's being described as Tarkov in space, any Tarkov nuts out there will probably be all over Marauders when it drops. The next big highlight here, Lightfall, is the next major DLC for everyone's favourite Destiny 2. We've got a new class in there that also incorporates grappling hooks. Mm-hmm. So I think that's kind of cool. The Strand subclass is what that's attached to. It's apparently the final battle in the Light vs. Dark saga, and it's set in a cyberpunk city hidden in Neptune that no one apparently knew about. But it looks absolutely stunning.
Hell yeah.
The graphics, mwah.
Yeah, like the styles and everything of this like cyberpunk city, as everyone's been referring to, in Neptune. It looks great. A lot of people have said, like, we haven't had something like this in a while. That's bullshit. Titan had a map that was very similar to it, and you guys got rid of it. It's one of my favorite maps. Anywho, I won't dwell on this too much. New content looks good. It's already brought me back. I'm already back in grinding and trying to like level up and stuff. So it should be good to also use this like new subclass as well and use the grappling and such and seeing how that works. And yeah, exciting times, and it's always good to see a little zhuzh in the Destiny community.
The trailer that they had with Gamescom, it just oozes polish and coolness, and it's just such a vibe. And yeah, like I haven't played Destiny in I don't know how long now, but I saw that and I'm like, oh, has this brought me back at least probably for a
lot of
couple of
people
weeks
back,
when
I can
this
tell
expansion
you.
drops?
My timeline's full of Destiny content from just random people that I wouldn't associate with it, so it's been pretty good.
And if February isn't busy enough, it's dropping on the 28th of February of 2023. So
squeeze it in there somewhere.
yeah. We also got a trailer for Sonic Frontiers, and it's actually bravely going head-to-head with the release of God of War Ragnarok in November. Looks very different to a lot of Sonic that I'm familiar with. Like the notes I had here, is this Sega's answer to Mario Odyssey, where we've got sort of Sonic running around humanoid world places and interacting with non-Sonic based characters? I don't know, but like it looked interesting. It looked very fast and frenetic and probably a bit too much for my brain to keep up with, but Sonic gonna Sonic, right?
Yeah, it looks too fast to me, which I know is ironic with Sonic, but yeah, it just looked a bit too much. Bit too much.
Gotta go less fast.
Yeah, gotta take a break. Okay, gotta sit down for
gotta
5.
rest over here. All right, we got an announcement for a game called Under the Waves, which is a smaller project from Quantic Dream, so it's actually being developed by Parallel Studios. It's developed in conjunction with Ocean Preservationists, and it looks to be a beautiful and heart-rending title. Very interesting. I like that it's tied into actually some real-world genuine causes, which you know I can always get behind. Quantic can be a little bit divisive. You know, they've done some
really
less than savory
stuff,
things over the years, but this sounds like a step in the right direction. I'm curious to see more of Under the Waves. We then got a bit more love for Goat Simulator 3, which just looks absolutely unhinged. It's coming out in November 17th, so it's in that God of War release window as well. But yeah, Goat Simulator 3 looks mad.
Yeah, it looks great. Like, it's been some time, so it's nice to see this new polished version of Goat Simulator.
Yeah. We also got Return to Monkey Island is launching on International Talk Like a Pirate Day.
Of course.
Yar! So it's making its way to PC and Switch on September 19th. I'm excited. I know a lot of people in the 8-bit community are very excited to jump back in and see what's been happening in this fantastic world. Mm-hmm. Are you going to be jumping in on the Switch or PC come September 19th?
I have to do PC. It's a point and click, so I've got to stick to what I know. So
That's fair. Moonbreaker. It's a new game from the Subnautica team. It's a digital minis game. It's very interesting. So it's sort of leaning heavily into the easiest comp is like Warhammer. It's a tabletop-based game, but you can make the minis. Then you can paint them to your liking and then
like
battle
digitally
them.
in game, yeah.
Yeah, like, so I really like that concept. The art style is really funky and quirky, and there's got to be a big story attached to this because Brandon Sanderson, who's one of the most prolific US-based fantasy writers, is helping write the story for this. So there's got to be some kind of nice, juicy narrative to sink your teeth into as well. But this one, yeah, very unlike a lot of the other games that were announced and showcased. But yeah, I've got Moonbreaker on my radar.
Yeah, I thought you would, especially with that attachment.
Yeah. Big fan of Brandon Sanderson. Next on Miss Hart, Friends vs. Friends. It's a very cool and slick cel-shaded shooter coming to PC and consoles, and it's card-based as well. So, very interesting.
We're seeing comeuppance in these different game styles with the inclusion of like card-based games or card-based elements to it. So I just like the vibe of it. I like the music. I like the chaos. I like the little animal characters kind of attacking each other and everything like that. So it's definitely on my radar. I'm going to keep watching out for it and seeing what it's all about because it just looked cute, looked fun.
It does look pretty cute and interesting. And yeah, like you said, card-based mechanics are becoming a bit of a staple. I think we made fun of that just last week as far as indies. It's like sim and like, you know, management or card building. So we've got that one in this one, but it looks interesting. Well, I thought it looked interesting as well. Stranded Alien Dawn is kind of like Wasteland in space. Was a trailer. So it's a space survival sim, part tower defense, part The Sims. Does look interesting. Did get a bit of an expanded sort of video showcase for this one. It ran a little bit longer than some of the other trailers. It's on the radar. I'm interested, but we'll see.
Yeah. For me, it was quite the switcheroo from what you saw in the video, and then you saw gameplay. I'm like, oh, it's not what I thought it was going to be. Okay. I thought it was going to be Ark.
Gameplay sort of jarred me.
Yeah.
The next one, Atlas Fallen. I thought at first, I missed the name pop up on this, and I thought this was another trailer for Forspoken.
Yeah.
Looks ripped straight from the same world, but the game looks interesting. I like that they're using this sand earth mechanic to utilize powers and supercharge weapons. It looks like it's tying in a lot of stuff from, say, Monster Hunter, as far as big monster battles in these big open world sand pits. And also remind me a little bit of Final Fantasy 15 as far as the graphics and just the world itself.
Yeah.
But this is on my radar. I'm keen for Atlas Fallen.
Yeah, it looks pretty, but I still don't know enough about it.
The power of the sand, Miss Hart. That's all we need to know. The power of the sand. We're getting Homeworld 3 in the first half of next year. Mm-hmm. I'm not a big Homeworld guy, but I know there's a very devout player base for Homeworld, and Homeworld 3 is making its way to PC early-ish next year. We then got a better look at Honkai Star Rail. Obviously, that's the game developed by Hoyoverse, which ties into the Genshin Impact ecosystem. Looks very pretty. It's got my attention, but I don't really have much skin in the game on that one. The next one, though, High on Life, got another gameplay showcase, and it introduced the Aussie multi-tool. So it's like a whip and a knife. And holy shit, I was pissing myself laughing for this 2-minute trailer. And there's just one line, I wrote it down, that the little whip knife says, and let me just find my notes here.
It was great.
Where is it? Okay, so it's a little whip knife, Aussie accented, and the whip knife says, "I'll cut their fucking asshole off and eat it." And I just lost my mind when it said this, and all the other lines it said. But this game looks great, and I can't wait to play this little quirky first-person shooter in December.
Yeah, I think this one's just going to be a dumb, fun kind of game to play. So I'm happy to wait for it and get my hands on it, because I think it's just going to be, just stupid fun.
Yeah, we need that stupid fun.
Yeah,
we then got a first look at gameplay for The Expanse. That's obviously a Telltale series. Mm-hmm. Love The Expanse. I guess it's going to be okay. I'm going to give it a spin to see how it translates to the game world. Yeah. But... yeah, we'll see. You going to jump in on this one?
No.
No,
sorry.
Are you going to jump in on the next one? So this is a bizarre announcement that I never thought I'd see. Killer Clowns from Outer Space is a new game that was announced. It plays very much like Friday the 13th. So you've got that asynchronous multiplayer horror element. It's actually done by the executive producer behind the Friday the 13th game. This was just B-grade horror from the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
With, as you said, killer clowns from outer space with very quirky ways to kill and very unique and memorable weaponry. Okay.
Yeah. I never watched the movie, but I loved the trailer. The trailer was great. It makes me actually want to watch the movie. I want to see what
the movies are pretty bad, but they're great. It's a crazy franchise. Gotcha. This is a crazy concept, and I think it could somehow work, because it's not so grounded in dread and reality like a Friday the 13th or a Dead by Daylight. They could really just lean into the madness. We got an announcement for Scars Above. It's a mysterious science fiction game about an alien invasion. It has a bit of a Returnal vibe to it. It's very coming soon, so we don't know when it's coming, but the imagery looked really nice on this one. Word Song. It's a new RPG with a very impressive pedigree. So details on the game were very lacking, but as far as the team putting this together, heavy hitters from games like Fallout, The Elder Scrolls, The Outer Worlds. So it certainly made the industry take a little bit of notice, because there's a lot of big time players involved with Word Song. The art style, the hand drawn art style, really popped for me in the trailer, but we didn't really see much at all.
No.
Age of Empires 4 getting more content. We're getting the Ottomans and the Malians update in October. We then got another trailer for Gotham Knights showing off its rogue gallery. So the new footage has confirmed several villains, including Harley Quinn, Clayface, and Mr. Freeze. My biggest takeaway from this, apart from the game coming out on October 21, is Harley Quinn's voice just did not work for me.
Neither did her character model. To me, she looked
didn't look very Harley Quinn, did it?
It looked like Harley Quinn if she was 50. And maybe that's right. Maybe that actually lines up. But she just looked really rough.
Yeah.
That really, really like caught me off with this whole trailer. Like as soon as I heard her, saw her, that was stuck in my head, and I really didn't pay attention to the rest of it.
Yeah, the locations they had on display look very unique, and I can't get over how jacked Red Hood is. When he's out of his costume and he's in like, I don't know, the Bat Cave or whatever they're going to call their group area. The dude's 7 times as big as everybody else. He's a mountain. He's a mountain. Jason Todd's been getting on the gear, I think. He has been boosting.
It's on the Venom. Yeah.
Yeah. The Venom. All right, the next one. Where Winds Meet. This was one of my favorite announcements of Gamescom so far. It's got a really, really, really pretty aesthetic to it. Very Ghost of Tsushima-esque was what I thought it ran and compared to. One of the things I took away from doing a bit of a digging, you can actually select occupations in the game. So depending on what you want to specialize in, you can pick your occupation. There's apparently a lot of freedom as far as how you want to go about the game and tackle objectives. But the big word that I put at the end of my notes here is just, it was stunning. It's a gorgeous trailer. The combat looks awesome. The character models look great, and I can't wait to play Where Winds Meet.
Yeah, to me, it was like one of the most beautiful trailers I've seen, and I think we actually got to see gameplay. I can't remember if it said it was actual in-game gameplay or whatever, but getting the actual idea of what we were expecting and just seeing the beautiful scenery and the environment of the game, I want to see more from it and kind of see what it's about. And it was just beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful.
It was stunning. And this one was certainly one of the eyebrow raisers for me. The next bit of an announcement here. Hideo Kojima's new industry-related podcast, Brain Structure, is coming to Spotify next month. So we're going to have Kojima, Jeff Keighley, and other industry pals getting together to share stories and whatever else. Will the podcast release on time? Will it be over budget? Probably all of those things. But more Hideo magic now making its way to your ear holes next month as a Spotify-based exclusive. So I can only imagine how much money Spotify paid up to have that sort of falling under their unique label there.
Exactly.
Park Beyond was introduced. It's a modular building sim. Looks a lot of fun. And the new trailer sort of got any of those sim savants very excited to jump into Park Beyond. Mm-hmm. We got to see another Warhammer 40k Darktide trailer. I'm actually keen to play this, Miss Hart. Like 4-player co-op, coming to Xbox Game Pass at launch in November. The character customization was cool. Like all I've seen leading up to this, it was just 4 standard character archetypes and that's what I thought you were stuck as, but they showed the customization options, and you can really drill down into how you want those characters to look and represent you in your own unique way. And it looks gorgeous, it looks horrible, it looks gritty. The combat and the magic sort of mixed in with sort of the melee and the weaponry looks really fun, and I'm keen to give this a crack in November.
Yeah, I might look at this one for myself too.
Yeah, it looks real good. Blacktail looks like a witchy good time.
Yeah.
I didn't really have much else to add to that one. Phantom Hellcat though, I was very interested in Phantom Hellcat. So the cool thing with it, it's a 2D platformer that then transitions into 3D close quarters hack and slash combat. So you've got your 2D platforming, and then when you get into the fights, sort of zooms in and changes the camera and the art style, and it is stunning. It is a stunning looking game. The combat really fluid and frenetic and chaotic. Reminds me of sort of those Platinum Games hack and slash styles, and I can't wait to play a bit of Phantom Hellcat.
Yeah, this one was a bit interesting. I'm like, okay, I see you. I'm not always for these kind of style of games, but I have been drawn to the odd one every now and then, so I'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah, me too. Crossfire X is getting a bit more content. Cool. The update's called Babylon. I've got no skin in the Crossfire X game. It was a bit of a dog's breakfast at launch for Xbox, but tis what it is. Dorfromantic. It's a little cute townscaping game. It's making its way to the Nintendo Switch at the end of September. Awesome. The Outlast Trials. It looks fantastic in all the wrong/right ways. So this is the multiplayer game set in the world of Outlast. Looks very, very terrifying. There's a closed beta for Outlast Trials, which is running from October 28th through to November 1st, and you can wishlist it on Steam. Those Outlast games give me the heebie-jeebies. Now being able to play that together with friends and family and enemies and whoever else, let's go.
Share those
Let's go. And then also the finals is a very flashy first-person shooter. It's coming from the former Battlefield developers. There's a playtest coming soon. Hopefully this game comes out and is less busted than the most recent Battlefield. That would be nice and refreshing.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
And then the other one here that I wanted to quickly mention is Lies of P, the last game that they announced. So this is another vibe, another homage to the Soulsborne style.
Yeah.
It's set in the Pinocchio universe.
Yep.
Which I'm still trying to process how that works. But I loved the gothic art style in this. The trailer and then the gameplay they showed of it looks very, very impressive. And what's even more impressive is this is a day one release for Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah. This one definitely hit the pulse for a lot of people. I saw everyone kind of get excited for it. I'm not sold on it, and the Pinocchio vibe on it also just confused me more. But it is pretty. I like the style. So, but it seems like they've already got a good bunch of fans already. So
yeah, and it's like Geppetto. Is he the big bad? Was that what I took that away? That Geppetto, Pinocchio's
I just wanted to see
line
its
father
nose,
is the baddie.
Yeah, I just want to see the guy's nose get longer.
Yeah. It is a bit more of an adult, mature theme, so maybe something else grows in this. I don't know,
no.
But the character I can only assume you're playing is Pinocchio or P. He didn't look very wooden. He looked like a real boy, but he had like a mechanical arm.
Yeah. So maybe he's like an android, so he's not a real boy, and he's being puppeted by something else. All that sort of...
But it looked very cool, and it was one of the biggest talking points of Gamescom.
Oh, yeah.
Like this game sort of popped up in a big way more so at Gamescom, and it's not too far away. It's coming out next year, and yeah, day one on Game Pass. So that's a very, very sizable victory there for Team Green to get that one day one. As far as Gamescom though, that was it as far as the biggest takeaways at time of recording. Like we're recording this right now on Friday, August 26th, so there still might be more announcements to come, but that's Gamescom, Miss Hart. Yeah. I'll quickly just rattle off some new releases coming out this week, and then we might look at shifting gears and closing this sucker down. What do you reckon?
Sounds good.
New releases and events.
All right, as far as podcast dropping this upcoming calendar week, we've got some new tasty servings of Bitecast, a couple little food reviews and rapid reactions there, so that'll be very exciting. On the big screen, 3,000 Years of Longing has all of a sudden made its way to the big screen, and that's the next George Miller film. Idris Elba starring as the Djinn there. Orphan First Kill. I could not care less about this film. I watched the trailer for this one last night, and my God, it looks woeful. Very, very, very bad horror. As far as games coming out, Destroy All Humans 2 Reprobed, Immortality, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Cowabunga Collection officially drops this week. Tinykin, Ooblets is making its way to Xbox One, Switch, and PC. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle R coming out on all platforms. Lego Brawls, Made in Abyss, Binary Star Falling into Darkness, and the big one, The Last of Us Part 1, which is obviously that PlayStation 5 remaster, remake, retelling, whatever you want to classify this as, making its way this coming week on September the 2nd. So a nice mixture of titles there to sink your teeth into.
Yeah, it's a good mix. And then that Last of Us just kind of, once again, sneaking up on us.
And we did get this week about a 20-second slice of the HBO Last of Us series, and it checks the boxes for me.
Good. It looks good. You throw like Ron Swanson in there and you're looking good.
And Pedro Pascal as Joel.
Well, yes.
I can see it.
Yeah.
He nailed the vocal stylings too.
And just the disheveledness.
Yeah. Poor old Jolie.
Yeah.
I love
rough
you.
time.
I love you, young sir.
Yeah.
He has had a very rough time. Speaking of rough times, I watched the House of the Dragon first episode this week.
Oh, yeah.
The show itself, like I'm saying, the universe, it's rough to live in, but really, really very pretty, and all of the good bits of OG Game of Thrones in that first episode. So I'm very excited to see what they do with House of the Dragon. I thought I was fully out after the end of mainline Game of Thrones.
Bring it back in.
But I'm right back in for House of the Dragon. So I can't wait to see what happens with episode 2 dropping on Monday. But Miss Hart, that brings us to the end of THG episode 297. Anything you want to say or shout out before we close this studio down for another week?
No, I'm good to go.
All right, 8-Bit Nation. Please rate, review, subscribe. Us and all the other podcasts list to on the regular. They help keep the emotional lights on in our hearts. But until next time, when we're back for episode 298 of THG, much love.
And stay hungry.
You've been listening to The Hungry Gamers, one of many gaming and geek culture related podcasts from the 8-Bit Collective over on 8bit.net. Check out more episodes on your podcast service of choice. And while you're there, please be sure to rate and subscribe. Until next time, boys and girls, stay hungry.